What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a wonderful time. My name is Ethan. I go by Lord Ethan, and today we are going to be taking a look at some. This is some gold, platinum support gameplay. This is from a player called Buba, and they submitted actually a number of replay codes, but ended up I ended up wanting to take a look at one of the defeats here. This is going to be a Kings Row matchup, as you guys can see. Oh, and the new lighting. This actually looks really great. I love the way that the new lighting looks on this map. I feel like it's nice to not have a dim map for a change, and also reminds me of those old archives missions. The player notes on this one say, how do I go up on the ranks as a support? I'm finding it incredibly difficult to rank up. I find that I have better stats than most of the people I play with or against, so I don't know how to rank up if I keep getting paired with mediocre teams. I think my main issues are positioning and aim, but I'd appreciate any advice. I mainly play Lifeweaver and Mizuki on support. So we're going to take a look at those two characters in particular and see what we can get out of it. It's worth it to mention, and we're actually going to end up there's a channel going up on my there's a video going up on my channel like basically around this time actually about how the scoreboard stats, the numbers really are not just not everything, they're almost nothing. In fact, so be careful about getting distracted by the numbers. Ultimately, all that matters is the game, its rules, and its outcomes, right? The consequences to the decisions that we make. This is a VOD that I would love to explore in great detail, but unfortunately, we have to keep these particular videos, or at least these videos, pretty much just as short as the replay code is. So I like this starting position, but you obviously can't stay there long, and part of the reason that's or part of the nature of that obviousness is the fact that we get knifed right off of it. Now, I want to go from high ground to high ground, right? So dashing here onto low ground, and we end up rotating here into what I call the I lose position of Kings Row, is a huge disadvantage. In fact, we even lose people because we stop being able to have the angle onto the allies that we want to see to heal because we aren't playing in the positions that we can see them, right? And it starts all the way back from that first decision. So when you hear me say Overwatch is a cumulative game in any of my other VODs, then you'll be able to understand that, like, starting out on the high ground where we're going to get knifed really easily is a really nice recipe to getting forced not onto the other high ground but onto the low ground, where we're going to end up losing line of sight of some of our teammates who need healing, and ending up having to elevate ourselves to positions where we're more easily picked, right? And so instead, starting in a position that might be a little safer, and then that way we can plan to move to another position a little bit safer, is going to be a really good place to start. Be careful about I call them 30 blossoms, or be careful about, it's just Reaver does so much healing, right? So I see us throwing full blossoms to our Ana. In fact, this is actually worth pausing. This is what I call support efficiency. Look at our tank, right, and what we're doing over here, and then look at how both of my supports are looking at one target. These are both like high healing output supports as well. So be really careful about this. It's not worth it to look at targets as a support player that my other support is already looking at, right? And it's important to look at targets that are different from that which my support player, my other one, is already playing. Oh, that poor Ashe. I'm not sure why you want to drag her into the open there at an angle where she's not going to be able to be as effective. I like the nature of the tree there, but you do kind of end up cooking your hazard a little bit because you take away this corner that he wanted to play around. He's going to go in with the tree and just end up taking a little too much damage because we don't have the rest of the angles that we need to support. Oh, that poor Ashe. I'm not sure why you want her dying with you, but that's okay. Be careful about taking too much damage as well when trying to heal people. You have to look out for number one. That's going to be yourself, right? So maybe that's by playing on high ground where you're a little more out of sight. Maybe that's playing ranges that are a little more comfortable, right? I see the Ashe and the Ana and the rest of your team all playing behind you, right? Is it really comfortable to look ahead, help your Haz, look behind you, help your team? Maybe not. Careful, you're really wide there, but I forgot that that Mizuki character can go for that teleport. Be really careful. Be really careful. For one, I failed to mention a couple of opportunities that we could be on high ground positions. But as Mizuki, it's especially important that we're playing close to our walls, corners, and covers. I want to talk about the roots, but we'll have an opportunity to talk about some of the roots. I actually think that I think that this is a VOD where we actually get to see some really excellent, roots on the rampage here. But also, it also just doesn't make sense to root a queen who's just standing in front of you, right? Root the queen so that she can't walk up on you as easily. Root the Sombra so that she can't TP out. Root the soldier so that he can't run. Root the Mercy so that she can't GA. There are lots of roots that you could be going for. The queen is not going to be your only one, but so far I've only seen seen you go for roots on tanks, and I don't think that we're going to see you going for roots onto other characters. Careful about you overusing the hats. Ooh, especially early on to these fights, right? You're going to want to have those for later phase of the fights, although it's a pretty short cooldown, so I understand you eating out, but it does healing, right? So you don't want to throw hats that do healing onto targets that don't need the healing that is capable of doing, especially since the hat doesn't do anything else for you. More roots, but it's not really based on like any scouting info or any kind of condition that we need to establish, right? And we end up going for the TP back out into the middle of the open instead of continuing to play the corner and cover that we could be wrapping around. This would be an excellent route to have, maybe just a little bit earlier, so I'm really, really glad that we end up going for that. And we do have a hat to cast to our Ana, so be really, really careful about just leaving her here. She goes a little too crit for a little bit too long. The policy when it comes to ultimate, so is if we have it, then use it. And so you're really looking for an opportunity as soon as you can to go for the placement of your ult. Honestly, though, at this point, understandable. There have been so many disadvantages that you've been encumbered with that you're not going to have many options there. Now, on this character, with his projectiles in particular, I don't see you playing angles and corners, which is especially important not only for avoiding damage and being able to peek and scout and then recede into an angle and play safely, but also, like, I think Mizuki's projectiles, they bounce off of walls, right? So it's really important to find angles where you can play safely, but also, like, generate ult really quickly. And I think that you're missing opportunities to do that playing in open positions on the low ground, right? Maybe you don't have the vertical mobility to get all the way up to some of these positions that you see Widows, Ashe, Mercy, and Life Weaver play in, right? Although you could definitely go back to Life Weaver just to manipulate some of these high ground positions, which wouldn't be a bad reason to play Weaver, right? Maybe you're not doing, maybe you're doing like different healing and you don't have some of the utilities that you might have if you're Ana or Baptiste, right? But ultimately, if there's something that you need to get done in a game, you can also play the character that helps you do that thing, right? With Mizuki, what you're looking to accomplish is like really nice off-angle damage root timings, right? Where you are cooking people just with your root. Now, I don't really care too much for backing all the way up there with the TP. Instead, doing a really quick narrow peek. And again, going for roots on the queen here, and we're spending a little too much time here in this choke, right? I like the root accuracy. I just wonder what it looks like when you apply that hinder status to some of the other ones, to some of the other players on our team. We're spending too much time in this choke point. Again, we want to be looking for off-angle opportunities here. So you could put down a shift here and run over to the far right side and start looking to take high ground. That's a really nice hat bounce, but it's a little tough that we don't have anything. And be careful, we're like stacked up on top of our team, and I've gone into great detail. Ooh, a little out in the open here, not close enough to our walls, corners, covers, and you can bounce your projectiles here, right? Careful, you don't want to have to peek the queen knife here, right? You can also bounce your projectiles off of the floors, and you run all the way out there to get another root on the queen that doesn't do anything because she's going to end up dying anyways. Do you need the root to kill the queen there? Does the root help you slow down some of the people who want to move there to choke, right? Are there more targets that are just as valuable, if not more valuable, to root than the queen, right? Are some of the questions that I might be asking, right? I understand that she's in front of you. I understand that you have the cooldown, but these cooldowns are meant for interactions that deny other characters the way that they want to be playing. The same way that an Ana throws anti-nade, so you want to carry that has Suzu, I want the root so that the Mercy can't move, the Ashe can't coach gun, the Soldier can't run, and the Tracer can't recall, right? And the Baptiste can't jump, right? So that's a really excellent root on the Soldier, but you're not making these roots off of any scouting info, right? You're not seeing the Soldier, seeing the Queen, and then saying, okay, they're going to do this next, I want to root that, right? We're just seeing us have the ability and cast the ability. Ooh, careful! Looks like we're trying to do a little too much with the ultimate there. You just want to throw it down, and I'm not entirely sure why you got to root the Bob, who's already going to be immobile, right? So making sure that careful. Feeding for our roots is really, really tough. We're at a point right now in the fight where we don't have to do anything besides live, and you see how wide out in the open you are, away from walls, corners, and covers, right? You're safe when you're here, and you are at risk when you are playing out in the open, just like our Freya ends up going down, right? So if she died in a way not too different than you would, right? And again, there's another route that you don't have any information to help that cast be effective or valuable or follow up follow-upable, like have any follow-up on it, because you throw it as soon as you peek the angle from which you would get the information that you need to scout that. Moving up to land our abilities is like a platinum Ana kind of behavior, right? So moving up to land the root on the queen there is not really conducive to having your best root or the most meaningful follow-up, but it's a really nice route onto the rampage. I really, really like that. But be careful about CD spamming for no reason. You really want specific reasons to root, and the queen going for rampage because you know that she has rampage and is probably going to let her rip because you see that your whole team is playing in the same spot, which is a really enticing reason to go for the queen rampage, right? That's when you want to root, right? That's the good route, as opposed to just rooting because you have it, right? If you have it, use it. That's our policy for ults and cooldowns both. But you want reasons to use it. You want follow-up. You want a matrix of reasons, in fact, to go for our abilities and attacks and angles and everything. There could probably be even a shift here. All of our shifts we are using to like send ourselves really wide left or right here, right? And so I really want to be careful about that. There are other angles to play, and really you're not establishing an off angle. You're just playing careful. You're visible there in front of a window. I don't think you need to peek that angle and take that damage. There's more angles to play here. You're not actually even taking off angles. You're just swinging really far left or right of your team, like putting yourself really wide where your Sigma shield won't cover. Ooh, careful! Just rip it. Just rip it on the ult. Just place it. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about using or like having any particular outcome of the ult. You just need to rip it. And honestly, this is a little bit incongruous as well. And this is going to be the rare Lord Thethan presses backwards here, just because there's so much that we need to talk about here, and it's just unfortunate because we don't have the time whenever we just got to let the replay play out. But this is an incongruous ultimate there, where it's a defensive ultimate that we are casting. Oh my goodness, that's loud. Where we are casting an ultimate that is defensive in nature in a manner that helps us achieve offensive means, right? So if your Sigma's going to die, he's probably just going to die, right? The best you can do is heal, throw hats, but probably the ult to make sure that we get a Gravitic Flux isn't necessarily the best place to use it, especially when, it might be nice to help us traverse distance or clear here. I want to go back to what I was saying about the angles. You're swinging far left and wide right of your team, and really what you want to be doing is like going all the way over here on the left side onto the high ground where you're not as susceptible to the damage from the Ash, where you still have angles onto for hats onto your allies. It's really interesting to imagine if you have opportunities to shut the soldier down whenever he swings wide around the objective. If you're positioned on that high ground there on the left side, do you have a root on him? Are you able to TP out? Do you have hats that you can throw to your teammates, right? And then now we're going to start reaching the beginning of the end here. We're running Roadhog on third point of King's Row Foundry with Mercy Mizu healing. It's going to be really, really challenging. So you're really thinking about how you're going to make sure that you're pumping out damage that helps alleviate the damage that is dealt onto him, right? So the more damage you do to the Ash and the soldier and these other targets, the less damage they're going to be able to do from their hog because they're busy LOSing and not taking the damage that you're dealing to them, right? Not to mention the fact that damage will help you build up this stack here, right? And you're playing a little far forward to land your abilities here, right? I would continue playing on the Mega. I would bounce some for your projectiles off of the walls in there, right? But we're ending up out in the open, stacked on top of our team. Don't stack on top of your team, especially as Mizuki. You want to be close to your team. You want to orbit around the outside formation of your team, depending on what kind of composition you're running and where you're running that composition here. But moving forward to land the abilities against your matchups that you're going for with the team that you have, you're just going to be better, more powerful on and off angle, where again you can still see your team, you can still have options, you're playing safe and you're playing smart. Oh my goodness, but look at you run out into the middle of the open here to help your Zen, who has the option himself of just unpeaking, right? When you could have been contributing to picks onto this hog or establishing a presence here on this Mega. We're going for roots on the queen without, like, I don't know that there's a specific reason to go for the root on the queen. And here's really, okay, this is probably where my note is for incongruent ultimate here is, again, you're using a defensive ult to take offensive space at an offensive time, and that doesn't really make sense for what the ult does, right? right? So for an ultimate that nullifies offensive projectiles, offensive utilities, right? I would be using that to defend against those utilities. That's actually one of the only routes that you've missed that I've actually really liked you going for, is the route onto that soldier. That's a really valuable route that leads to a pick, an advantage, and it's not onto a target that has so much HP and so much sustain that there's no way we can kill a queen in the time that we root her there, right? We do go for a route there. The Discord helps make her more killable, but again, it's going to be really hard to kill her. We do kill her, but we have to feed really wide for it, right? And take damage that we can't justify at a time when our Roadhog is respawning. So now he's only got Zen heals, 30 seconds left of the timer, and we lose our sim as well. You're part of you have helped to contribute to the stagger train here, right? Where not only are you not available in this fight to generate your ultimate, do healing, and apply damage, but that's actually the key, is you're not around to do damage anymore because you're feeding for a pick on the queen, who, like, killing the queen there doesn't help you win that fight, right? So do you have to kill the queen or do you have to feel compelled to kill the queen, or can you just go play your angles? I haven't seen you try to control the mega pack room. That's a nice, really nice route onto that queen, but you also don't have to be in a position where your option is either A, get rampaged by the queen, or root the queen, right? I don't mind that we're getting really nice roots on the queen, but I also don't like the idea of going for vanity plays and like, you know, we mentioned scoreboard, right, at the beginning, or in our player profile, right? I have better stats, right? Like, yeah, we have some really excellent roots, right? But they're not actually helping us in the end. This is, I think, probably the first Mizuki ult that I've really liked, and I do like that route, right? We're probably underutilizing the shifts a little bit, and at the end of the day, really, we also saw a lot of like stacking on top of our team, on top of the objective where teammates already are. When we are all playing in the same position as a team, there's only one place for all of the damage to go, and that is onto that one position that all of us are playing. So you have to off angle. You have to off angle. It's where your best routes going to be, or your better routes are going to be. It's going to be where your damage is going to be, where your healing is. It's going to be where your safety is. It's going to be where a lot of your options are, right? So make sure that you're playing those or opting for those positions. You have a shift key to do so. You have perks that eventually help you do that as well. I didn't actually get the chance to talk too much about perks, but then as well on Weaver, it's worth it to consider move from safe position to safe position. Make sure that you're always managing your pedals so that you can maintain and acquire high ground positions. Excuse me, and then also you want to make sure that you are that the healing that you're doing is healing that your teammates need, right? So instead of giving full blossoms to your Ana, who's only missing a little bit of HP, give her a little bit, and instead of spamming 30 blossoms as Weaver onto your Ashe, who is critical, right? Then make sure that you take the time to at least charge, you know, maybe halfway, 1 or 2, and then start giving her full charges after that, right? So we really want to meet the needs of our team with the resources that we're capable of, and that even goes from Life Reaver's blossom charge to the roots as Mizuki, right? There were a lot of roots that we actually just didn't need, right? So doing everything for specific reasons, right? Why do you start on the high ground? Why do you jump to the low ground after you get knifed off, right? Why do you heal some people with 30 blossoms? Why do you heal some full HP targets of 60? Why are you looking at the same target that your other support is looking at, even though both of you are capable of doing healing to 2 different targets, like virtually at the same rate, right? While 2 different targets are taking damage. Why are you casting a Mizuki ult, right? You're always looking to do everything for very specific reasons, and you are looking to demand certain conditions and establish the likelihood of certain outcomes, right? So it's really important to think ahead and make sure that you know where you want to be about every 8 to 12 seconds from now, right? And that's one of the things that slowed us down, is we spend a lot of time not moving to our next good spot, and that's going to open up some options. Like I mentioned, as always, guys, there's a lot of information that we could cover. This one has actually got a lot to it, and unfortunately we just don't have that kind of time. That's going to be a luxury reserved for content that we're able to create off of longer VOD reviews, which is going to end up being kind of a premium service that we do for coaching here on the channel. But Bubba, thank you for allowing us to briefly examine this replay code and be be able to take some key pointers out of it. It's a little more like live coaching style, even though I'm not a big believer in live coaching. But that's a topic for a different video, a different day. At the very least, we understand some of the big takeaways, and might be able to start accessing options in game that lead to more questions, more technical opportunities, more intricate scenarios that we can break down, and some of the longer form content that we do. Be sure to check out my other content on the channel as well. There's a lot of principles that I have that I kind of lightly mention that are really extrapolated, expounded upon in some of the other longer videos that I have. Really, at the end of the day, it's very silly. I give a lot of the same advice to pretty much everyone, every single video. To Bubba, a huge thank you is owed for allowing us to examine your gameplay here on the channel. Hopefully we get a couple of really nice moments to celebrate, but also a couple of really good pointers to set us on the right track to improving. Good luck reaching past the peak that you mentioned as a Plat 5 peak. Breaking into mid-high Plat is going to be really, really exciting and also really deserved for you. But Bubba, it's going to come off the back of some very, very intentional decisions that you're looking to make. Again, thank you so much to Bubba for submitting the replay code for review. And if you guys enjoyed the content, found it entertaining or helpful, then be sure to leave a like or subscribe to the channel to stay updated for more. Feel free as well to leave a comment in the section below, but make sure to keep things positively oriented. We aren't doing weirdos in the chat on this channel. And if you guys want to see more, then make sure to hit the bell icon so that you guys can get notified of when we go live with the videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Be good to each other. Be fair to yourselves, and I will see you guys again next time.